What's going on, guys? Oh my, Godzilla back with a very exciting Godzilla figure review. Guys, today we are taking a look at from HIYA Toys in their Exquisite Basic Collection. This is, of course, King Ghidorah from Godzilla, King of the Monsters in the Monsterverse Films 2019 release. Guys, this figure is amazing. This figure is huge. Great detail, great paint. I'm super excited to jump in. Let's do it.
Oh my god!
Alrighty, guys, we are back here with our HIYA Toys Exquisite Basic King Ghidorah, and as you can tell, guys, this guy is just huge. I've had the back of the camera up so far. We got a little, we're almost off the review station here, but guys, this is just a gorgeous, gorgeous figure. Coming in and taking a look. Let's start, guys, with those feet. Taking a look at some of the detail we have on here. Toe claws look gorgeous, amazing paint and detail on just those alone. I love the paint on the top. They did a great job kind of shading and having it become lighter as you reach closer to the tip. Moving up to the foot, guys, amazing looking detail on those kind of scales, the textured pattern, and the ankles look great. It's great. They've got these great little toe, the side claws coming out there, and the legs just look gorgeous. I love this detail that we have on here. Just amazing little texture. Every little bump and piece is just looks perfect. Got some great little spikes, even great paint on these side spikes that are just like, hidden on the side of the leg under the wing, and they still managed to go ahead and paint them up. It looks so good. Then, guys, moving into the torso, we still have some of that amazing texture. Looks great coming up onto the neck. That's an amazing color. I love how the white kind of pops up off of that darker tan color, and it just looks great. All these scales, the kind of individual pieces of the neck moving up, those scaly chunks. We'll go ahead and take a look at the wings now. Just awesome detail on those guys as well. Really good job. Just getting the veins, kind of the texture. I love the paint. They did such a good job on, not only, we have multiple colors of paint, we have kind of the lighter, the darker splashes here, and, different shades of the darker splash. Like that's a darker, and that's just a little bit of a darker. And then, we got the veins, and then we got these kind of painted sections on the membranes, whatever you call those pieces there. And then moving up, guys, we have just a gorgeous, like these wing tips are so cool. They just did a great job at painting and doing every single one. Obviously, the camera's having a little hard time picking up on them, but they just look phenomenal. There we go. Just the paint, the color, looks just phenomenally gorgeous, and every one is painted a little bit differently. That one's a good one down there. Just gorgeous. Guys, flipping this figure around, starting with the tips of the tail here, we just have some amazing pieces. The spines look great. They aren't painted quite as nicely as kind of the ones on the backs of these wings. Just taking one more good look at those. My goodness, but they're still painted pretty well, and they're kind of a nicer gray. Pretty dark tail, but I love these chunky segments they got here. Moving up the tail, everything looks just phenomenal. Again, the texture on the main part, the little spikes, every single freaking one is painted. Take note, Bandai. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. Just moving into the back, we have some great color, multiple shades of brown mixed in here with the spines. Everything looks phenomenal. The shoulder patches look amazing, nice and dark. The spikes, the texture is just amazing. Everybody, you guys should all get one of these figures just to be able to feel all these awesome textures. Moving up the backs of the necks, they look great. All these spines just look, everything is just painted so well. I got a huge shout out to these guys for just doing such a good job. The backs of these this is probably some of the kind of laziest paint we're gonna see, just kind of on the backs of these spines here, but that's okay. We'll take a look at the heads here in just a minute, but just one more look at the backs of these wings. We saw the fronts. Just amazing paint and detail all along this entire figure. I just am very, very excited on this guy. Guys, moving into these heads, let's go ahead and take a look at Kevin. We'll kind of stretch their two heads out of the way, and I'm going to kind of give it a backdrop so we can hopefully the camera will stay in focus. But obviously, guys, individually sculpted teeth. Let's start there. That's just amazing. We do not see individually sculpted teeth all that often. That tongue back there does articulate. We got some great detail on kind of the side, little bony jaw area. These horns look great. Just a phenomenal looking detail and paint on those. The eyes are painted pretty well. They kind of got the beady orange eyes in there. Looks just awesome. Taking a peek at this top of the head, there's got there's a little ridge on the top of his head. Everything just looks great, guys. The tongue is kind of, the tongue details like a little forked tongue. See if I can pop that down a little bit for you. They are articulated, but they don't move too amazingly, but they do move some. There we go. That's a little bit better. Teeth look great. Bottom of the mouth looks good. Top of the mouth has detail. I don't know if you can see kind of up in there. Top of the mouth even has detail. He does kind of have a little bit of kind of an exaggerated overbite, but that's okay. And it looks like this guy's jaw is actually poked out of his, this pink's supposed to be up underneath. See if we can kind of pop that back in. There we go. So it's fixed his jaw. But this guy the heads on this guy are just amazing. Pretty much going to have the same dealio on all three of these heads. But they just all look fantastic, guys. This is just an amazing detailed figure. Guys, moving into some articulation on the figure, we've already seen that the jaws do open and close. Can I tell you one more thing, though? Notice something that, if you've watched a lot of my videos, you know I was hoping this would be the case. What do we not have to use? It comes with a stand. It comes with a 3-piece stand, but he does not by any means need that stand. He stands on his own, which is one of my biggest gripes with the SH MonsterArts. That figure can't, I mean, that figure can barely stand with the stand. I feel like that figure's just a nightmare to deal with. But, guys, in terms of articulation, we do have pretty decent range of motion on all these heads. The side heads can kind of come out to about, here-ish, and you could probably get more out of it, but I don't want to try and force them too much. But they can move pretty good there. In terms of looking forward, I'm not going to get much more than about that. And looking up, we can get about there. So if you wanted to try and recreate the big pose when he's doing his big roar on top of the volcano, you could kind of do that pretty well. Guys, in terms of torso articulation, we have a little bit of side to side, which isn't too bad, and some up and down, actually. So that's decent torso articulation right there. Leg articulation, guys. At the hip, we kind of have a little bit of in and out swivel, and then some up and down. The knee, guys, pardon me for fumbling this, guys. This guy's big and heavy. So he can kind of go about there. So a decent little range of motion there. And then he does have some spin kind of in the middle, this middle joint here. And then some point and flexion of the foot. And we do get 360 on the foot and this little mid joint. So that's nice. Two more pieces of articulation there. The tails are pretty articulate. In terms of down, up, side to side is good. You can crisscross them pretty well. So good articulation out of those tails. Biggest downside of this figure for me right now was the fact that it took me so freaking long to get these tails on. I had to heat especially this one, I had to heat that with the hairdryer for probably 90 seconds and then still jam it in. And it's still it's holding onto his body so tight to get that freaking tail joint to go in. I had marks on my hands for a little while. So one complaint is definitely going to be the tail. And we do have some wing articulation. We can, you can kind of come back some, down some, not a ton. But speaking of the wing articulation, oh my gosh, look what just happened. And as we saw from the promo photos, there is a way to make this figure kind of in a walking pose. I've watched a few videos doing it, so we will now attempt that process ourselves. Guys, I'm going to be honest, I messed with this figure in the knuckle walking pose for like an hour, and I couldn't get it to look even half as good as a bunch of the other reviews I've seen out there. So, instead of showing you like a really terrible version of what I did, I'm just going to tell you, go check out Shin RobJira's video. He did a great job of demonstrating how to do it, and I just could not figure it out. Mine just never looked quite right. So, I apologize for that. Go check out Shin RobJira's video. It is amazing. Alrighty, guys, getting into some comparisons. This is our SH MonsterArts Ghidorah. I don't have the special color version, but just imagine this guy, but really shiny gold instead of dull brown gold. Still same amount of detail and whatnot. So obviously, just looking at the wings side by side, gonna have a ton more detail, better paint on the HIYA by far. SH MonsterArts didn't paint the tips at all. They just kind of have, two colors. They spray painted the base and then they highlighted it. Whereas the HIYA Toys one, they have they have the gold, they have the base, but then they have multiple different levels of detail and spray paint kind of in there. And then the wings, the membrane lines look way better. The claws are painted, and it does have that extra level of detail with kind of those veins running throughout there. So HIYA Toys definitely wins in the wing department. In terms of overall body detail, HIYA Toys is again going to have to take the win. Just in terms of all the detail and texture, look at the legs, the paint. The paint and detail is just so good on this guy. Whereas over here, on the SH MonsterArts, we basically have one color with a little bit of text, color thrown in there. The detail's not terrible, but it's just such a so much more of an underwhelming figure in terms of that. In terms of the head detail, guys, I went ahead and popped one of the SH MonsterArts heads off, kind of accidentally. I just was going to rotate his neck, and the head went ahead and popped right off. But just looking at these side by side, guys, obviously the SH MonsterArts is a lot larger, but that's about all it has going for it. Detail's going to be way better. The teeth on HIYA looks better. The detail's better. The paint's better. I just think it's not even close in terms of that. Yeah, I think HIYA Toys just blows SH MonsterArts out of the water on pretty much every level of this figure. I will say the only detail that I think SH MonsterArts has done a little bit better is just, SH MonsterArts is the king of just really fluid, movable joints. So I think the necks are probably a little more easily maneuverable on the SH MonsterArts versus the HIYA. So I definitely appreciate that, but that's really going to be the only category that HIYA is going to lose in. Ladies and gentlemen, here is our sizing. HIYA Toys King Ghidorah versus the HIYA Toys Atomic Meltdown Godzilla. So I think this sizing is pretty darn good. I definitely like Ghidorah being significantly bigger and just huge and intimidating. The heads might be actually, the heads might be a little on the small side, but that's going to be okay. I think the scaling overall works very, very well for me. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the HIYA Toys Ghidorah from their Exquisite Basic line. Definitely a great figure. Nice that we don't need the stands to pose it. The wings are totally beyond me, and I can't freaking figure them out. The tail was kind of a pain in the butt to put on. But between that, this figure is amazing. The detail in the paint is just absolutely gorgeous. It's going to look amazing up on the shelf. It's going to be huge on the shelf. Figure's probably 20 inches wide and, 15 tall. So he's definitely a space hog, shelf hog. But that is okay. I think I'm definitely glad I picked this guy up. For anyone who's wondering, the best place to order HIYA Toys figures is either directly from HIYA Toys or from INS Hobby. They tend to arrive about the same time. I've actually ordered the same figure from both of them, and they've arrived within a day of each other. And it is way before, Big Bad Toy Store is going to get them and whatnot. So, guys, let me know your thoughts on the HIYA Toys King Ghidorah from King of the Monsters. Definitely love it. Glad we have it. HIYA Toys continues to dominate in the world of Godzilla basic articulated figures. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this figure in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more. We'll see you in the next one.